Welcome everyone to the Digital Media Hot Seat. I'm Jaycee Allen, your host, and today we have with us St. Francis County's Sheriff Jeff Kreitz. Being a third-generation law enforcement officer, previously a volunteer firefighter, why did you choose to continue being an officer?
Well, growing up as a young man, there was always law enforcement in the house, state troopers, sheriff's deputies, city police officers over for dinner. Just like any profession of your parents, you hear those stories, it interests you, and I got into the public service with being a volunteer fireman. I enjoyed helping people. I felt that was a calling, and then getting into as a dispatcher, seeing what the road patrol officers did, became a police officer, and it just led from there.
Did your dad or grandpa ever push you into that?
No, none whatsoever. That was my choice, but in seeing them go through the career of law enforcement officers, I felt that was where I needed to be. That was a calling.
What are the biggest crime problems in St. Francis?
I would say your petty crimes, your thefts from vehicles, our assaults, domestic violences, incidents. But there again, the petty crimes would be the smaller thefts that occur every day, your shopliftings, your theft from vehicles, crimes of that nature.
How do you guys handle the Amber Alerts that get sent out?
Well, there's several ways we're notified. Of course, if you're signed up to receive Amber Alert notifications through text, through your phone, we will be notified of that. We also have what's called the license plate readers. If an Amber Alert comes out and you see it on, like you see on TV, it will give the license plate of the vehicle and description of the vehicle. It will alert us if that vehicle passes one of our license plate readers in the county, and we have, I believe, approximately 14 of them throughout the county. So if that Amber Alert happens to come into our county, we should be able to be notified of it and respond to that area.
That's smart. Do you think the law enforcement has changed in your time being an officer, and if so, what ways?
There have been a lot of change and reforms. We have our bail reform, or what's called the kind of book and release. If it's a property crime, we have a certain amount of time to apply for a warrant, as opposed to a crime against persons, which could be an assault or something to that effect. So you see a lot of people would be arrested and processed through the jail or the detention center and given a court date where they're released with a court date instead of staying in jail. And that's part of the bail reform. So I see that, and I think a lot of the citizens see that as a no punishments, but that's pre-punishment. They haven't been convicted of a crime, so we just process them through. I think that's changed. You've had the defund the police, that movement. So I think that's affected law enforcement a little bit and made us change our ways. Technology is probably the biggest and most important thing that's changed in law enforcement.
Do you have any hobbies?
I like to hunt. My two passions, I guess, in hunting would be deer and waterfowl. I love to camp. Anything pretty much outdoors. I love doing things with my family and friends. Side-by-sides, I like that. So, yeah, just anything outdoors.
What's the latest book you got?
13 Point.
How did you meet your wife?
Well, I'm going to date myself when I go back and tell you the name of the town. It was Flat River. So now it's known as Park Hills, but it used to be called Flat River. In high school and right after high school, or teenage, young driving age youths would what we called cruise. So we would drive around and burn up gas. But I met her at Flat River. I had, let's see, it's been 1988. So long time ago. We've been married 32 years, and I met her while riding around in Flat River.
What's the secret to dating her?
Never stop dating. Always, put her number one, and always go on dates. Continue that dating process.
How does your wife feel about your career choice?
Well, when we first started dating, my first career path was probably going to be in the fire service. I really enjoyed the fire service, and she knew I was probably going to try to get into the fire service. So, and she knew my history with law enforcement in the family. Uh, it changed when I got into dispatching and decided I wanted to be in law enforcement. And she's been supportive through the whole thing. She kind of knew I had become a law enforcement officer about 6 months or maybe a year before we got married. We were engaged, so she knew what she was getting into prior to us getting married. So that's why she's been able to stand by me.
Did you go to college?
Some college,
What college?
Mineral Area College.
What'd you study?
I believe it was general studies at first, and then it changed to criminal justice.
Did you go into any cop school or anything?
Yes. To be a law enforcement officer in the state of Missouri, you have to attend a law enforcement academy. So I attended Mineral Area College Law Enforcement Academy. Was not here yet, and it was actually St. Charles Law Enforcement Academy out of St. Charles, Missouri, that came down and put on a class at Mineral Area College, and that's what I attended to get my state certification.
Do you think you would encourage more people to become cops?
When I saw, like we mentioned before, the defund the police, we saw our numbers attending the law enforcement academies drop, but I see the pendulum going the other way. You're starting to see more people apply for the academy and a bigger hiring pool, which is what we need. So yes, it's been a fulfilling career for me. I've met a lot of wonderful people. I've met some bad people on their worst days of their lives, and I've been able to help them. So it's been a fulfilling career.
So in the school consider situations of real spooky.
Well, it depends on what the different schools' protocols are. Each school's different. But the way we are trained now is you go in and stop immediately, neutralize the threat, and save life and property.
How was your job as an officer and even at the harbor?
That is a really good question. We do have mental health evaluations to see how we're doing. We have peer-to-peer support groups that we can talk to other officers. That this has really came about probably within the last 10 years on the mental health for law enforcement professionals and first responders, all the way across the board, fire, EMS, because they are seeing multiple issues with trauma and difficult events. But it affects everybody differently. You just have to get a mindset of what we call the bulletproof mind and just get through it.
What is the most common way you see other officers coping?
I'm sorry?
What is the most common way you see other officers coping now?
Well, we have, I think, debriefing and talking to your fellow officers. Well, that peer-to-peer support group, I think that's probably the easiest one is to talk to them and say, hey, that bothered me a little bit. Did that bother you? And then you start talking about it. And we also have chaplains assigned with agencies. We have a chaplain with our agency, and the previous agency I worked for had a couple chaplains, and that your faith, I think, gets you through it.
You go to church?
Yes, I do. New Heights Church.
Do you go on Sunday? Go on
Sundays.
Was it different to run for office?
Yes. First time I'd ever run for office. I never ran for student council, anything like that. But yes, it was an eye opener. At the time, it was a lot of work, but I look back on it, I really enjoyed it, getting to meet people, knocking on doors and discussing issues. And I look back at it, and it was fun. I kind of look forward to doing it again.
Does your father like that you're sheriff now?
Does he what?
Does he like that you're sheriff now?
Oh, I think so. I think he's very proud.
Do you have any social medias?
Yes, I have my personal social media page. I guess it's Facebook. I just recently got on that probably a year ago. And I have a St. Francis County Sheriff Jeff Kreitz page, and then we have the Sheriff's Department's social media page, all on Facebook. And I think I also have a Instagram account.
If someone was considering a career in law enforcement, what would you say to them?
Research it first. Come into it knowing that you're going to have as it's been said before, a front row seat to the greatest show on earth. You're going to see things. You're going to know things that you kind of have to fold, that you can discuss with men for family. But it is, like I said, it is you have good days, you have bad days. It's not all rainbows and flowers. And, but, you come into it, it is very gratifying to know that you help people on a daily basis. And every day is something new. My two boys want me to. I just never. I did. I'll date myself again. The Atari. That was probably about the maybe PlayStation 2. So old school stuff. But no, I really don't have time anymore. But my boys want me to play with them sometimes, and they're adults. But I can't work the joystick.
So only have two of your kids' names. You have Emma and Elijah also for them.
Elijah's my nephew. I have several nephews. But Emma is my daughter. And then I have Taylor, who is my oldest, and his wife Samantha. And then my middle child is Corbin.
Are they in the law enforcement?
No.
Or did they ever want to?
I don't know. I never pushed them towards that. I feel like if you push somebody towards a career, it's not in their heart to do that. So if they choose to go into law enforcement, I would support them, but it may not be in their makeup. No. I think probably that my biggest fear would be to lose an officer under my command in the line of duty.
Is that what happened?
Not with me. Not recently. No. Not in any agency I've worked for.
Where are you now?
Well, as a sheriff, there are a lot of challenges. You have to make decisions that affect a lot of people. Our county has a population of, it kind of fluctuates, 67, 68,000. So a decision that I make could affect a lot of people. Budgetary restrictions and constraints are a difficult issue. And, protecting the rights of the citizens. That's one of my biggest responsibilities. So those are some of the things that are difficult.
So, as a sheriff, what exactly do you do? Like, day to day?
I've been a sheriff for 72 days. So every day is learning something new. I find out that the sheriff is responsible for. So I guess a perfect typical day is I go into work. I try to answer all my emails, phone calls, things of that nature. See what happened the night before. Is there anything I need to do? We do concealed weapons carry permits, approve those. I check with the staff. I check with the jail. How's things going there? What can I do for them? I have meetings, have interviews that I have. A lot of things are going on. It's just every day is something new and exciting, and that's what keeps this job fun.
Can you take a time during your career that you've made a positive impact on someone?
I had a gentleman that I did arrest for driving while intoxicated on a New Year's Eve. Ran into him several years later. I was with my wife. We were having dinner at a local restaurant. He called me over. My wife was with me. He introduced himself and with his wife and said that I had saved his life because he was an alcoholic. And by me arresting him, caused him to seek treatment, and he was no longer drinking, and said that based on that traffic stop, me doing my job stopped him from drinking ever again.
Do you think you need to improve anywhere? Okay, that's a bit wrong. Do you think you need to improve anywhere?
On myself or an agency or?
Anything?
Well, there's always room for improvement. You never can get complacent and stay at that level where you don't improve. Training, I believe training is very important. I continue to train. Matter of fact, next week I've got a sheriff's conference training. So continue to train and train, just like schooling, just like you all are doing here. You continue to train, and makes you better. So there's always room for improvement. If you're not improving, you're not moving forward.
Were you ever in the military?
No, I was not. That's I look back at that, and that's one of the things I wish I would have done.
What branch were you chosen?
My grandfather was in the Marine Corps. I'm kind of partial to that. I would have liked to have applied for and tried to enter the Marine Corps.
Okay, this is a little deep question, but what were you doing on 9/11?
I was working.
What were your feelings toward that?
I can remember coming into work. Several. I heard it on the radio on my way in, and got into the dispatch center at the city of Farmington. There were several of us standing there with the dispatcher watching the TV. I felt sick in the pit of my stomach. Being that far away, what could I do? I was angry. That was attack on the United States, on us. But I kind of felt helpless a little bit, being here in Missouri, and with that being in New York. Then the other attacks, the Pentagon and the plane crashing. Just thinking, what's my next step? What's going to happen? Well, where are we going with this? And what's our response going to be? And it's still hard to watch.
Was there a protocol for something like that?
At the time, no, not here in Missouri.
Was one for you after?
That I don't know. I was with Farmington at the time. And we kind of take for granted that we're here in the Midwest. We're kind of insulated. Not to say that it won't happen, and that's the thing you have to prepare for.
What has been your favorite chapter in your life?
Well, right now I'm enjoying it. It's a new chapter. I did my time with the city of Farmington as an investigator. I enjoyed that. It was difficult to leave. I had a lot of friends, and some of them were you become a family. Now my family is a different family. It's the sheriff's department, and I think right now this has been my my best chapter so far. It's been fun.
Were you nervous on your first day as being sheriff?
No, I wouldn't say nervous. Kind of excited. Anticipation. What's the first day going to be like? Walking into a new office. There was a lot of excitement. I wouldn't say nervous, because the staff and the personnel at the sheriff's office, welcomed me with open arms. So I already had a good a base when I came in. So I wasn't nervous, but more excited and ready to get to work.
Do you have any retirement plans yet?
We'll see how this job goes. It's the position is a 4-year position. I plan on running the next campaign, so another 4 years. By then, I'm getting up there in age, and we'll just have to see how I'm doing and see how the citizens like me. And if they want me to continue doing the job, I'll continue doing the job.
What is your favorite restaurant? No.
I would have to say I'm probably partial to LTAP.
Oh.
But I do like several other ones, but that would probably be the one I seem to go to the most, because it's close to where I live, and everybody likes it, so it's easy. My family, it's just easy let's run there.
You like wearing cowboy hats?
Love it.
What's your favorite like brand of cowboy?
Well, this is a Stetson. So, just depends kind of my mood. I have several cowboy hats. Depends what my outfit is. It's like shoes. You got to match them. And, I have different colors. So it just depends on, but I would have to say my Stetson. It fits the best or feels the best. It's like an old pair of tennis shoes.
You wear with cowboy hat on them?
No.
Is that anything I want to do?
I might, yeah. Yeah. I think Ted Nugent has a camo cowboy hat.
What's that? What? Okay. You have like your own hunting land, or your...
My father has some land, and my brother, and my dad and I and my nephews and my sons all hunt there.
Do you like hunting by yourself, or?
Well, I guess it kind of depends what you're hunting. Deer hunting, I'm by myself, but we have a cabin that we stay in, and it's kind of our time to get away and reconnect.
Who are your heroes?
That's tough. My grandfather and my dad and my other grandfather. I learned a lot from them. They instilled, I think, values in me that I carry on today. It's hard to narrow it down. You have teachers that are heroes to you. You have coaches, Sunday school teachers. I think all that just evolves into kind of your heroes. But I would have to say my dad.
What's your favorite movie?
Boy. I like westerns. I like open range. I like John Wayne movies. I like the new True Grit. So it's kind of hard to narrow it down to just one.
What's your favorite
Sports team? I like Mizzou college football. I like St. Louis Battlehawks, St. Louis Blues. I would say probably my favorite right now is the St. Louis Battlehawks, because that's new, that's exciting, it's fun to watch.
Have you ever had to fire your gun? Like,
we qualify with them, yes, but I mean, at a person, or what?
a warning shot?
No.
No. You ever had to chase someone down?
Like run after them?
Running after them, chasing that bill with a car.
Yeah, I've been involved in pursuits, vehicle pursuits, and I've also been in foot pursuits. Not as the sheriff in my previous employment.
Was it hard?
It's just what you do. I can't put it on a hard or easy scale. Some people are faster than others, and some are slower than others, and you just have to evaluate everything you do. Is it worth the danger to the public? In a vehicle pursuit, is it worth jeopardizing somebody's safety to apprehend this person, or can we get them at another date and time? Why are you chasing them? How's the seriousness of the crime? A lot of things. What time of day? So you have to evaluate all that. So it's not hard. It's just there's a lot to take into when you do that.
What has been your favorite job besides your work?
Favorite job? I think probably the most gratifying is to be assigned a criminal case and working it through all the way to the end and making a conclusion, whatever that may be, and solving the mystery.
like the full questions I have. Do any of you have any questions? I actually have 3 questions, but I'll do the hard one first. So as you said earlier, you have a couple of Facebook pages. One of them being your professional sheriff page. And a lot of researching, I noticed that the first day you actually became a sheriff, you coached a couple of things that you wanted to either improve or change with the department. I was wondering if you can maybe go into more detail on some of the other stuff you'd like to improve or change.
Well, some of the things that we're doing was better equipment. That was one of the things I wanted to do, to get some better equipment for the staff. We recently purchased 5 new vehicles to upgrade our fleet. We have another round of vehicles coming, so we'll be upgrading additional. Cars are getting, mileage is getting high, the maintenance costs are getting higher, so we're doing that. One of the things I want to do is improve the jail facilities. We're currently doing that. I've put some before and after pictures out on social media. We're also looking at body-worn cameras, and we're in the process of getting some cameras for testing evaluation. So that's coming down the road. Policies and procedures, we're working on that. Matter of fact, we're at the jail. They're just about to complete a inmate rule book that will be given to each inmate while they're there, explaining the rules and what the repercussions will be if they violate those, and how they can file a grievance if they need to. So we're moving forward. Like I said, if you're not moving forward, you're not growing. And I think we're 72 days. We'd made some strides already.
So my second question is, if you can say this, what is the craziest pursuit and your job you had to keep that on during your employment as in the police department?
I couldn't tell you. I mean, I don't, off the top of my head, I can't think of anything. It's just like I said, every day is different. It's like I said, it's a front row seat to the greatest show on earth. You're going to see things that, you're like, I can't believe this even happened. It's an eye opener. But then there's also, you see great things from people. And you do see some bad things. You see people at their worst, and some people having the worst day of their life. And they call you for help, and if you can help them, that's why you do it.
So, you're the sheriff now, you come in State Farm. Is there any kind of is there any way you want yourself in treating each other? Is there any kind of way of conduct? Yeah.
Well, I believe in a chain of command. You have the sheriff and the captain, then the lieutenant, and then the sergeant, and it just goes down that chain of command. You just show respect to everybody, treat everybody how you want to be treated, and I think it works out great that way. Yes.
I have and you life of driven it your life faith.
Forensic science. As an investigator, we've done, of course, your fingerprints, your photographing. We don't actually do the forensics of it. We may collect the evidence and send it to the forensic lab to be tested. We can do some things at the investigator level. It just depends on what classes you've been to and what you've been trained. We've used alternative light methods. So kind of like a laser and blue lights to show body fluids, things like that. So I mean, that does come into forensics, but it's not the stuff like you would maybe see on CSI. I was a meth lab technician, and we used some equipment that would give us air samples. So that's kind of some forensics there. But some of the stuff you see on CSI doesn't really happen. That's Hollywood. But yeah, on our level, we're more collect it, photograph it, package it, label it, and then send it off to a laboratory for forensic analysis.
And my second question is, how do you feel on stereotypes about Hawk Cowboys and doing that?
I'm not gonna lie, I like them. That's been a long running joke. The explanation that was given to me is the reason cops started eating donuts is they're easy to transport. If they get a call, They can throw it away. It's lightweight. Now, it's probably not the best thing for you, but yeah, enjoy them.
Like,
Yes.
your career, but there a point where you felt like, wow, it's my party, you get.
Yeah, as after you've been in this for a while, you kind of wonder what's my next step. I know some friends that are in law enforcement, but they may have another background, be it carpentry or plumbing or something like that, and they may go to that as a fallback secondary job after leaving law enforcement. I've been in law enforcement coming up on 34 years now. I don't know what else I'd fall back on. It's just kind of what I've done, and I've put all my chips in the law enforcement basket, and I haven't really thought about quitting. But like I said, sometimes you have good days and bad days, just like with any job, and you have that mindset of I'm doing more good doing this job than not doing the job. So I guess no, I haven't thought about quitting.
You know, to answer this, would that's when you make it.
Benefits. Yes. We have health insurance. We have retirement. Just like with any job, we have pretty much the same benefits that are afforded to a regular employee.
And I'm about to calm. So, mentioning some of the stuff in like TV shows, I had to exaggerate. How much of those like top TV shows are actually accurate to the job?
Well, one of the things you never see is after they make an arrest or anything like, you never see them sitting at a computer writing a report. You may see them in court. What was it? Law and Order was a big one that would kind of go through the whole investigation in court. That was in 1 hour. It doesn't happen like that. It may be a year, it may be 2 years before you end up in the courtroom to talk about this. That's why we write reports, to go back and remember what we did at that time. So they've got to condense that whole investigation down. And same with CSI, where they can take something and it pops up a guy's driver's license, tells what kind of car he's driving, all that. That doesn't happen at our level here. So that's Hollywood. It makes it exciting, makes it entertaining. You see a shooting on a movie or a show, you never see them going to the internal affairs, being suspended pending the outcome of the investigation. You never see all that. Next thing you know, the very next day they're right out there doing it again on a TV show, and that's not reality.
Any more questions?
Yes.
That you went to the academy. How would you describe the training?
Well, it's the state requires certain things to be met, certain areas of instruction. And I think that it comes in for someone who has no idea about law enforcement. I think that's good. That gets them the basics. But then you go out with the agency you get hired to work for, and they will teach you their policies. They'll teach you their practices. They'll teach you, their method of doing it. So the academy does kind of a broad overall. And then when you get your individual agency, they will fine tune to what they want you to do. So, but yeah, it gives you a basic groundwork on how to be a police officer. And there again, wherever you go to work, that employer will get it more fine tuned.
Okay, so what is the work you take to pop today?
I guess that's pretty broad. Well, we have left one of the things we try to stop that from happening is we have field training officers. So you would be hired as a rookie police officer or rookie deputy. You would be assigned to a field training officer, and he or she is going to take you through for several weeks. I think it's six to 8 weeks. Maybe it's 16. I'll have to double check on that because I'm thinking about which agency has that. Was it the one I worked for before or the current one? But they take you and teach you all the procedures and all the policies, and hopefully that takes care of rookie mistakes. Sometimes you see a rookie when they come out of the law enforcement academy, they are very energetic. They are really ready to go. So you might have to throttle them back a little bit, and they want to make contact with every car that's maybe over the speed limit, and you can't do that. There's just so much. So you kind of have to, in moderation, maybe I don't want to say too aggressive, but just wanting to get out there and do their job overly than what they can do.
So when you're applying to work as a cop for a police department, do they look at your ASVAB score?
It just depends on the agency. I think both agencies I've worked for, didn't take that in consideration.
I
So
think pretty terrible on that.
Hey, any other question?
I just have one question.
okay.
Maybe wrap it up. So, fortunately, we've never had to deal with this here or around the area, but we do drills for intruders. What's the sheriff's department's role in kind of training or having a plan for an intruder at a school? And how would you guys, if that ever happened, how would you guys deal with it?
Well, in our lifetime, we have had at Farmington, we did have a firearm that was discharged within the school. What we have is our patrol deputies. There's several schools that are not within the city limits, have city law enforcement response. I believe North County is one of them. I think your building, West County, and Bismarck, which Bismarck has a city department. We have a school resource officer there. That's what it is. But we will respond immediately. Each school's different. I know we have been conducting in-school training with our sheriff's deputies for intruder alert, but each school kind of has their own policy and procedure on what they're going to do and how they're going to lock down. We are working with the other school districts, local law enforcement, to assist them. Recently we had a lockdown, Mineral Area College. We locked it down. That was more of a preventative. So, we do practice and we train for it.
They put you through the ringer.
Well, they did. Some of those questions were kind of tough, but it was fun.
Thank you.
Oh, you're quite welcome.
This would be a great interview. All right, that was Digital Media's Hotseat. I'm Jaycee Allen, and this is the St. Francis County Sheriff, Jeff Crates.
Thank you for it.